Scott Denish, team leader for the USAID, here in New Zealand to help with the Hawke's Bay flood recovery, cyclone recovery. How are things going?
Things are going very well. We've integrated well into the system that New Zealand has. We have a very similar response management system in the United States that's similar to the central incident management system here in New Zealand. And so we've integrated well into the team. We have staff in operations, planning, logistics, GIS, and then in distribution. And so again, our functions are very similar and things are going well.
How long have you been here?
This is coming up. We're coming up on day 10 that we've been here. We have actually 4 staff in Wellington at the Beehive working with NEMA at the National Coordination Center, and the rest of our 9 staff are here. But we're coming up on day 10.
And what have you been doing here? What has been your focus?
Our focus is just to support here in Hawke's Bay the staff here at the coordination center. Just because the response has been so continuous and so exhausting for many of the staff, we're coming in to supplement the staff to give them a break and then allow them to break away and then come back. And many of these operations are very long in duration as we go into that recovery phase. And our response right now is really getting commodities out to the distribution from the distribution center out to the communities and working with them to make sure they're well placed for that recovery effort.
So when you say commodities, what do you mean?
We have the distribution center, the civil defense, and the officials here have built hygiene kits. Actually, an army of volunteers, of wonderful people, have built hygiene kits, food kits. We're flying fuel out for generators, water. All of this is going either from the distribution center at the showgrounds or from Bridgepaw Aerodrome is being flown out to these communities.
And have you been to some of these communities yourself?
I've been to Lower Dartmoor, but I have not been to any other communities. Our focus has really been this area. We have not been up into the disaster area itself.
And from what you have seen and heard, what sort of scale has this event been in terms of disasters that you've dealt with?
This is a very significant disaster. This is a major event. As we've heard from our New Zealand colleagues, nothing since really Christchurch earthquake has something this significant happened. And in the U.S., this would again be a major event. And so it's the work that has been done here is amazing, and the level of effort here is absolutely amazing, both from the people in emergency management, but also the army of volunteers who have really made a lot of these operations happen.
And what do you bring, sort of in terms of that experience and that your team and that what do you bring to the operation?
So all of our staff come from emergency management and firefighting, wildland firefighting in the United States, and all have at least 25 years of emergency management and wildland firefighting experience from their careers in the U.S. And again, that's in areas of operations, logistics, planning, and public information. And so with that, they've brought in and again supplemented the staff, and we've just been able to add additional horsepower, if you will, to those positions and just filling in where we can to be helpful.
I think when the United States has had events like fires and that New Zealand teams have gone over, how important is that international collaboration, if you like?
Our partnership with New Zealand on firefighting goes back to 2000, and really previous to that, for many, many years, I believe 55 years, we've had a partnership with New Zealand in education and emergency management and firefighting. Starting in 2000 to 2018, New Zealand has supported the U.S. 7 times in wildland firefighting, and so this partnership is very deep, and it has been a very good relationship, and New Zealand supporting us, and then where we can, and this is our first time here supporting a disaster response, and at this level, we supported Christchurch earthquake with urban search and rescue teams, but again, at this level, this is our first time to support New Zealand like this, but it's wonderful to come and help a partner.
And what other sort of disasters and that have you personally worked on?
Most of what USAID responds to are large, complex disasters. We have responses in Ethiopia, Afghanistan, Syria, and so those are the majority of our responses. We have large displaced populations that we're working to support. War is considered a complex emergency. Natural disasters, we had 2 of our urban search rescue teams in Turkey recently and Syria supporting that effort. So those are most of the type of responses we deal with. And so that's similar to what I deal with. I mean, by Ebola in 2014 and the Ukraine response for Russia's war on Ukraine. So all of these responses we're working.
Okay, so you've been to these different areas.
Yes.
Wow. So you've got quite a bit of experience. How much experience do you have?
In firefighting, my background is wildland fire. I have a little over 20 years in wildland fire, and I've been supporting international operations for USAID for 14 years.
And how many of these operations do you do a year?
That's a challenging question. Of course, the world seems to have more and more, especially climate-related issues. I think on average about 10 responses a year. So between most of what I focus on is wildland firefighting, the USAID support for wildfires internationally, and then emergency management, emergency operations support like this internationally. We have 7 to 10 a year, depending on the year.
And how much longer are you here for?
We depart from Hastings on Saturday morning, and then from New Zealand on Sunday.
Okay. And you think you've contributed to the effort, and you're happy with the work you've done?
We're happy. I hope we've contributed to the effort. I guess that would be that's reserved for our New Zealand friends. But I think we have. I think that we have. Again, the friendships, kind of these immediate friendships that we create here, and these relationships, and again, speaking the same emergency management language that helps, and realizing that we're here to support where we can, and if that is sweeping floors, we will do that. If that is providing, support on air operations, which I've done, and the team has provided public information, then we do that. So it's we're happy to support wherever we can.
And in terms of the operation, you mentioned volunteers and that. Have you been quite surprised or pleased with how there has been a sort of buy-in by the Hawke's Bay public?
I have, yes, very much so. I mean, again, the distribution center, which is where many of these volunteers are, and I don't have a lot of background on some of this, but again, watching them build, these food boxes and these hygiene boxes and all of these commodities going out the door, and they've been doing this for for 1 month since the storm hit 1 month ago yesterday. Yeah. That is impressive to see, and it's heartwarming to see. And some of these individuals have been there that entire time, and one of the people leading that group has been there the entire time, and it's amazing to see.
And how long do you normally expect sort of these operations with isolated communities and that to go on? I mean, are we looking at months or weeks?
Here, I can't speak to these. Again, we have them into the communities, and the incident controller, Ian McDonald, would have a better idea on that. I will say large disasters like this, they do take a long time. There's always challenges that arise, and they're very complex. They're very large, and especially in an event like this where you have lost bridges, lost railroad tracks, all sorts of communication lines down, power lines down. It takes a while to build up that infrastructure again, and so I will even in the U.S. We still are working on fires and hurricanes coming in, months later. Here, hopefully that these are done sooner than, these events are replicated sooner than later. But I think a lot of that is determined on just the having again no more storms, and having kind of a calm to get things done.
And apart from the circumstances that you hear, or what do you think of New Zealand and Hawke's Bay in particular?
We actually really like it. I think some of us are trying to figure out ways we can we can enjoy a day or two, but on the back end of the response. But I think this is wonderful. I mean, we come from the winter time in the United States, so it's wonderful to actually not have to wear a jacket or long sleeves here. But again, the people of New Zealand are wonderful, and we've been treated warmly since we arrived. So it's very nice. It's very nice to be back and in the area and working with friends again.
Scott Danish, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
PSI Team is here to assist your emergency management group in the recovery. What do they bring to this process?
Yeah, well, I think they operate in a similar way to us over in the States, similar systems, but also they just bring experience. And at that time when they came in a couple of weeks ago into the response, we really needed some experienced emergency managers who could help what we were doing on the ground, provide some advice, but also provide the mentoring. When you're sort of got your head into an emergency, sometimes you can't sort of see the bigger picture, and their brief from me was to make sure that we were looking at the bigger picture, that we could actually, we were looking outside of the immediacy of the tasks ahead, and they did a great job around that, and they brought another level of professionalism to the response.
And how important is that international collaboration in natural disasters like this?
Oh, it's huge, and look, they made the comment, we want to repay you for all the people that you sent over for their rural fires.
Yeah.
And so, we've had from Fiji, and we obviously go to Fiji quite often in cyclone support. We've had the Australians over there quite a bit as well. We also had Canadians here as well. So, our traditional our traditional partners have come to our help when we need it the most, and we obviously repay that when they've got disasters.
And every day progress has been made?
Yeah, I actually think we're, if I look at the bigger picture, I think the progress is gathering momentum, and every day is actually more than just one step forward. We're sort of taking a couple of steps and 3 steps forward. So, the roading is becoming more and more, the work that's been done by Waka Kotahi and their contractors, I think, has been huge, and that's going to be a real game changer for us. That is the focus, getting those roading networks up and running. So big for our rural communities, so big for just people just moving goods and services around Hawke's Bay. So getting that sorted out, I think, will be a key enabler for our ongoing recovery.
Thanks for your time.
Lizzie, and I am from Oregon in the United States, and I am here to help out with public information during the emergency.
My name is Vicky Clay. I'm from the state of Arizona, and I'm here as in logistics.
Hi, my name is Tim Love. I'm from Olympia, Washington. I'm a Geographic Information Systems Specialist, which means I map the response.
I'm Ed Lewis. I'm an operations individual here at the incident. I'm a retired fire chief from Spokane, Washington, and have a background in incident management, major incident management, and emergency management experience throughout these disasters.
So my name is Brenda Bowen. I'm from Colorado in the United States, and I'm here helping with public information.
My name is Paul Zur. I'm from Southern Oregon, and I'm here to help with the plans, and I have over 20 years of fire experience.
So my name is Forrest Bain. I'm from Idaho, the northwest part of the United States. I work for the U.S. Forest Service, and I'm in wildland fire management. And so my incident experience is with operations on incident management teams who respond to large wildfires across the United States.